Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, bringing you back another Pokemon Build series video. Today we have Weezing, who is a poison type, although the Galarian type is Poison Fairy, which I think is a little bit interesting. I don't think I've ever really seen a Poison Fairy type before. I mean, I don't know all the Pokemon, and as I'm going through the series I am kind of learning more and more about them, but yeah, it's an interesting duo. But yeah, Weezing kind of looks a bit like Coughing, and I described Coughing as it looks like one of those underwater naval mines, but this one kind of looks like two of them fused together, like a normal sized one and then a really smaller one. So on the Coughing, it has like a skull and bones motif on its lower half, I guess. I was gonna say its stomach, but it doesn't really have like the head is the body as well. So like on the lower half, it's got the skull and bones motif. But the smaller one just has a circle to, I guess, represent the skull. And Coughing has more of a dopey look, whereas Weezing kind of looks still a bit dopey, but a lot more miserable looking. A lot more tired. I don't know, I kind of interpret it to be like, you've been around some really gross environmental things and it just makes you feel worn down, and then maybe escaping to the country for a little bit, getting some fresh air and detoxing a little bit would make you feel less like that. But yeah, it's a definitely interesting Pokemon for sure. And I don't know, when I saw this Pokemon, I guess I also saw the picture of the Galarian Weezing, which has a lot of green smog around it, but it also looks like it's wearing top hat, like both Pokemon, because it's two Pokemon fused. They both kind of look like they're wearing top hats, but at the top of the top hats, it's like a smokestack, and it's all gross and like smoggy and yeah, whatever. And I guess looking at that, because I think the description of what I wanted to build was something along the lines of like, it looks pretty on the outside but it's really disgusting on the inside. And I guess like kind of looking at that, like, you're wearing a top hat but it's actually a smokestack, and that feels very, I don't want to say on the nose, but it feels very much like if you look at a lot of companies, like, yeah, they look all dapper with their top hats, and look at us, we're fantastic and amazing and so eco-green and healthy, and then you look at where they actually produce things and it's like, you're kind of destroying the environment. But sure, buddy, you can say that you're nice and clean and not at all toxic. So yeah, I feel like this build is a little bit like that. It's a little bit like, I don't really believe you. You're a bit gross. You have these not so great factories and things like that are terrible for the environment, but you sit here and look at us, we look fantastic and amazing. So yeah, I kind of wanted this to feel very much like that. I wanted this to feel like, so this is a company on one side, so they've got like a little office on one side, so they've like rent out that little office space, and on the other it's individual workspaces that you can rent out yourself. So, if you are self-employed or work from home and you need somewhere that isn't home to work from, this is supposed to be that sort of place. But yeah, it's a very toxic work environment, quite physically toxic, but I also imagine the people who work here are probably a little bit, maybe a few of them are toxic and maybe a few of them are just absolutely exhausted from the social and emotional toxicity that go on in places like this. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend working here. It's very They took their screenshots very carefully. They upgraded this little entryway, so when you first enter, you're like, oh, it looks fantastic and amazing. But even in this room, when you're like in the entry foyer, when you look around, you can kind of see into the other spaces, and you can already see like, oh, that's really gross. Why is that like that? And yeah, like they could have spent all their money. They spent all of their money in upgrading this one room and the exterior, when in reality they could have spent a lot less money on the exterior and this entryway to maybe hire someone to just simply clean these areas. The floorboards in the other rooms aren't necessarily that bad, but they could have hired someone to, they could have steam cleaned the carpets, they could have gotten someone to clean all the mold off the walls, and, just simple stuff like that. Like, it really doesn't matter all that much to, like, spend all that money making the front area look fantastic and great when the rest of it looks absolutely horrendous. It feels very two-faced, and I guess that's kind of what I was going for, is, like, some companies, I'm not saying all, there are absolutely companies out there who are not two-faced, but there are definitely some companies out there who are, and I kind of wanted to build this to kind of represent them. There's definitely been things that I've built that are absolutely pretty and gorgeous and definitely represent companies or lifestyles or people who are less gross and toxic, or who are actually quite good for the environment. So yeah, it's sometimes I do feel like we do need to build some things that are a bit more accurate, though, to kind of, I don't want to say call it out, but to kind of bring attention to it. There's lots of companies who release statements on, like, I do this and that to be better and whatnot, and then you turn around and you look at what they actually do and you're like, oh, that's kind of gross. Maybe I don't support this. So yeah, I don't know, maybe just keep an eye out on those things, and maybe have a little look into what people actually do, what companies actually do, compared to what they say they do. Because I do think it's important to kind of look at the difference between how people act and how they say they act. Actions speak louder than words, and that's not just for companies, that's for, like, real life as well, If somebody says that they value you and appreciate you, but they can't do very bare bones basic things that take care of you, like, it does feel a bit, maybe they don't value you. And I feel it's the same with companies. Like, if they are working really hard and doing the right thing and not really having to say that they're doing the right thing, I definitely think that they're fantastic and amazing, because they're just sitting down and doing the work, And I really love and appreciate that. And I love especially, like, small businesses doing that, because it's hard for a small business to make decisions that are financially, to be environmentally safer. It does cost more. I fully get that. I've studied business. I understand how it works. I did a lot of accounting for, one of my majors was accounting, so I definitely understand that it can be very difficult for small to medium enterprises to be more socially and environmentally responsible and aware, but it's typically the smaller businesses that do that. And so that I do love supporting smaller businesses. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing when the big businesses who can definitely afford to do it choose not to, because it's just cheaper in the long run. Like, in the long run, you're actually going to lose everybody, because everybody's going to be so disappointed in you that you were making these decisions. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like an interesting thing to investigate and look at, because we did look at it quite a bit in uni. And, there are people who were studying business who had small businesses, but they were studying the degree to get experience and expertise in areas that they were lacking in. These people who already had businesses weren't studying entrepreneurship because, well, they already know how to do that sort of stuff, but maybe they need help in, let's say, marketing or accounting, or I don't know, supply chain management or things like that. So I think it's absolutely brilliant that these people did that if they need help. But looking at these people and chatting with them about their businesses and what they do and how they keep them better for the environment, or like this is the decisions they made. It's really, really cool to look at and chat with these people about, because I do think taking care of the people who work for you or do things for your company is extremely important, and making sure the environment and the society around your company has positive impacts. I do think it's really important, I've thought about I'd love to own and run my own business and help society and the environment and things like that. It's just trying to find the right business for me to run, and the right business for the area in which I would run that business, It's definitely it's definitely interesting. It's definitely something, yeah, I've looked a lot into, and I don't want to run a business for the sake of running a business. I want to run a business for the sake of bettering the world, but I need to find how I can do that, you know? I'm not going to just start up anything for the sake of starting up anything. So yeah, I've definitely been looking into a few different options and the financial costs to start them up, and how I can actually help out the environment and the world and the people around us. I've definitely been looking at helping with the crisis of cost of living, but I'm not sure quite how I can quite do that. I have been looking into like independent grocery chains and things like that. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a chain, but just like an independent grocer. And yeah, that it's a lot, but I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to do that just yet, but it's still definitely something I'm looking into, because I do want people to feel like other people care about them. I know in this day and age there's a lot of people who just care about themselves, and you know what, that if you only care about yourself and you just can only focus on yourself, I get that. Like, it's not easy to focus on everybody else when you have your own issues to deal with. But I also do think, the world could do with a little bit more self-love and self-care, and spreading that to the people around us. It's as simple as, just taking kinder options. If you're having a bad day, I will sometimes choose just simply not to talk when I'm having a bad day, because I know I'm not going to say nice things or be nice. So, okay, if I'm not going to be nice, I'm not going to speak. And it's as simple as that. Like, I think, making little decisions like that can be really beneficial to the world, by just choosing to not do things instead of doing them, or to do things instead of not doing them. It's, I don't know, I think one step at a time we can make the world slightly better every day. It's not going to fix all the problems that are out there. It's not going to, end all of the issues that exist in the world and make sure everybody's safe and happy. But, I think even if we can make one person happier, that's progress, and, I think it's sort of one of those things where, like, if you can make one person happier, they could turn around and make someone else happier. And then that person could turn around and make two people happy. And suddenly, like, it's this knock-on effect where it sort of expands outwards. And yes, there are going to be people out there who will, no matter what you do, you can never make them happy, and they will never be the sort of person to try and make others happy, and they'll always be out for themselves. And there are also other people out there who will try and make other people happy, but it actually makes it worse. And, like, I get that it's never going to be perfect, but I just feel, we could all do with a little bit more love from our neighbours, And I'm not talking about, like, literally you'll, like, go next door, knock on their door and be like, hello, neighbour, I hope you have a wonderful day. Like, that's a little weird, but, just, I mean, if you know your neighbour, that's fine, but, I think making decisions to not be a problem is definitely step one. Like, let's all make decisions to not be a problem. If there's something that bothers you but is not a problem, walk away from it. I don't, for example, I don't really like watching people be physically affectionate. Like, hugging, whatever, sure, holding hands, don't care, but, like, kissing, and I don't want to say romantically hugging, but, like, intimately hugging, I guess, I don't really like watching that. So my solution to that is simply don't watch it. I just look away. And now those people who are clearly having a moment, and, they're not being disrespectful or anything, it's quite a norm where I'm from for people to hold hands and kiss and hug affectionately. Like, their day is not ruined because I'm like, I don't want to see that, I just look away and it's fine. But anyway, I could ramble and rant on about these things for a long time, but I think I'm gonna wind it down a little bit. We are getting towards the end of this video here, so if you guys have enjoyed my ramblings, the build, or the video, or anything like that, definitely feel free to subscribe. I do come out with a video every single day except the last couple of days of February, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.